good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are. Welcome to today's live stream. Let me just finish getting everything set up. I've got some weird things going on with my YouTube setup today. It's giving me an error, which is unusual, but hopefully you can see and hear me. Let me just try. I have got a preview running. Yeah, I can definitely hear myself, so some may say that's a good thing, others may say that's a bad thing. Let's just see how we go. Now I'm starting to see the information coming through. So welcome to you all. Welcome to Marie. Let me just get my mouse in the right position. So we've got Marie, welcome from Michigan. And then we've got Chris in Toowoomba. And with Ricardo over there in London in the UK. So today, a few weeks ago, I was asked about doing a demo of the app that I've created for managing my fountain pen collection. So today what I'm going to do is just give a very quick demo of it. It's running on test data. It's not actually my current pen collection. It'll be running locally as say on test data, but it'll be interesting just to give you a quick idea and hopefully get some feedback about things you'd like me to include in it. Welcome to Blonde Scales 1 from Arkansas. And we've got John joining from New York. Bit of a world tour again today. So I love seeing that, all the different people in the different countries we've got represented. I think it's really interesting. So let me swap on over. What I'm going to do is swap over to my computer screen. And hopefully you'll be able to see this preview. No, that's not the preview I wanted you to see. Okay, why aren't you showing me the correct one? That seems to be an old snapshot. Maybe it'll show up better over on my preview. Let's see. You can see there the videos I've got lined up to watch over the next couple of days. Hello there. Hello to David from the UK as well. Welcome to you. Let me just try swapping around a bit. See if I can get this to show the right screen. Well, this is really embarrassing. Not sure why it's not working. I'm going to just put you onto my intro video for a second whilst I just have a quick fiddle. Here we go, back. Not sure why it's not working. There's my video. Let's try turning it off and turn it back on again. No, it's not refreshing. Weird, don't you hate it when computers don't do what you want? Let me try adding another one on. You're going to see all sorts of things. This is the fun of live streaming, isn't it? I've lost my mouse now. I'm trying to control so many different screens. So I'm going to try adding macOS screen capture, make it a new one, display capture, display is, no it's not that one, it's this one, okay, and let's turn off the old one, turn off the new one, turn off, put that one on, put that one on. Alright, well, we won't be having a demo of the app. I've got absolutely no idea why this isn't working. And my live stream's still going there. Absolutely hate that. Well, never mind. Is there another way I can give you a demo? Not easily. Let's try one final thing. If I... Oops. Where's my mouse? I lost my mouse. Oh. No, that's me testing stuff. Okay, one final little try. Let's go into there. We'll edit that. Let's put that onto my Retina display. Right, that's a bit better. And then let's move this over. And hopefully that will now show up on the preview. Let's see what happens. No, I don't think we're getting anywhere, are we? Right, that's me going over there. That's going into the infinite loop again. So there's about a 30-second delay. So what I'm seeing on my preview is what happened about 30 seconds. Oh, yes, looks like we're on. It looks like we've got the demo there. Let me just wait a second because I repositioned that. So this is my pen list app. It's available for macOS and for iPhone and iPad. What we're seeing here, this is the macOS version. Now, I'm in the middle of doing a redesign of the user interface, so this isn't exactly how it appears at the moment with the app that's on there. But if I move my mouse over so I can actually control it, I've lost that damned mouse again. Do you know, my computer's going all sorts of squiffy today. Just got to go and check something with my displays. So let me get into settings, displays, because every time I try to move my mouse over, it vanishes. Where are we? Displays, arrange. Right, it should be fine now. So there we go. So now I've got my mouse. Let's get on with this now instead of hopefully all this messing around. So this is very similar to the existing interface. So it's a bit clunky. We've got here a menu where I've got all the manufacturers. And so if I go and select Bennu, if I open it up, I can then go and look at my pens. This is test data, remember, so I've got a number of test pens. So I'm going to select those test pens and Talisman. I can go and select ink for them. For inks, I'm just going to go down to one that I know I've got some ink in it. So Diamine. So I've got inks. And then I can look at my manufacturer's details, but it's very clunky. So I'm in the middle of building a new one. So this is what the new one's going to look at. This top bit here, that won't be there, but it's purely there at the moment because I've got both of them. So the first screen shows you my inked pens, and I've got some really rubbish photos here. So you can take a photo of a pen, you can add that pen details in, and it shows me, if we go and look at, I'm just going to go down to one, I'm picking one at random. Let's go for the Allow Me Safari. So you can see I've got Allow Me Safari with a broad nib, and in there Diamine Music Series Beethoven. If I click on where we've got Allow Me Safari, I've got two options. I can either look at pen details or usage history. So if I go for pen details, this is a screen I've still got to redesign. It's very squashed, so I want to try and work out how best to make use of the space, but also make it look nicer. So in here we've got details like the pen color. If there's a serial number, you can capture that. Storage location, so you know where it is. Nib size, so various nib sizes. The list here isn't what you see on the live version. Again, this is test data. Nib material, so you can choose what it's made from. If you're using your own nib size, you can actually use your own nib size. You can choose the manufacturer of the nib. So I don't know, say you've put an Asvine nib in there and you've got a specific grind. So I'm going to say it's a round one. How much I paid for it. So I paid $37 when I bought it and where I bought it from. Current pricing. So obviously prices change over time. So you can actually put in the current price. So you can get an idea for the value of your collection if you wanted to. The date you checked that and where you checked it at. And then if you sell it, how much you sold it for, who you sold it to, and then mark it as sold. Then down here at the bottom, we can select a picture. So if I click on the picture, he says, will it show? Yeah. Click on the picture, shows you a bigger version, and you can save that photo to your photo library if you want to. And then you can also go in and add some notes. So I'm just going to remember which keyboard I'm just going to add in some notes. And then I can save that. And that saves some notes. So there's also usage. So if I click usage, I can see what inks I've had in here and when it was in there. So I can go and say, right, I had Momiji from the 15th of the 621 to the 23rd of the 621. So you can get an idea of what inks you've had in there. And then you can also make a review. So if I click on review for the top one, this is what I use when I'm doing my fountain pen focus videos. This is the actual format I use. So you go and put a review, you give each of these a mark out of 10. Again, I need to work on the redesign, so I've got 8 there. I might give that a 7, a 6, and that one a 7. And ink flow, let's give it a 4. Comfort, I absolutely hate this pen, so I'm going to give that just a 2. Value for money, whatever you want. Then you can save that. Because that was my main one, review combo will fetch up that same window, so I obviously didn't save it. So you can put in there the details, and then you can export that review, and that exports it to a CSV file. I'm just going through really quick. I will come to the comments in a second. Actually, let me just move them over. There we go. I'll be able to look at them in a second whilst this is still on the screen. So, as I say, this is all a new interface I'm working on at the moment, not available in the current app. And I'll be tweaking this as I go forward because, make sure it works right. So we looked there at the pen. We can do the same for the ink. So we can go into the ink details. So we can take a photo of the swatch and show that there, or well, whatever you want. I use the swatches. Again, we can look at a bigger version of that and save it to the photo library. So for the ink, we can also pick the color. So if I pick on here, I can use my picker tool, and then all I do is I hover over a photo and just click on it, and then that sets that color. I can give it an idea of what color family it's in. I can add any notes again, and I can also add ink properties. So here I can say, well, this one, and I know it isn't, it's a chroma shading, and it's also a sheen in ink. Close that, and now that saves those ink properties as well. So then I can go in later on and I can search on that. So let me save that one. The next screen is the manufacturer screen, so I'm redesigning this. So here, a little bit more space. So again, we're going to go to Bennu. So I can see here, these are the details about the manufacturer. So the name, country they're from, and then I can add new items if I want to. So if I wanted to add Test Pen 5, I can then either add it as a pen, an ink, or a notepad. Obviously this is a pen, so I'll add it as a pen. That will then show me the pen details, so I can go through and I can put all my details in. There's all sorts of countries in there. So we've got ink capacity, what's the capping mechanism, so twist off, how many twists, does it post, is it inspired by another pen, you can put the name of that in there, lengths, weights, and the widths. And then once I'm happy, I can save that. So that should now have added my new pen. Maybe I need to refresh it. As I say, this is in current work in progress. So if we go back to Bennu, there's Test Pen 5. So that did not add. Let me make a note. Add pen does not refresh list. Just making a note to get into my task management system. So if I go to Test Pen 5 again, which we've just added. Right, here we've got Test Pen 5. I can now edit the details. So again, that's all the details we've just seen. But I can also see that although I've added the pen details, I don't have a pen model or a current pen. Again, I need to work on this screen. It's not exactly clear. So I can go and add a pen. And so this is now Test Pen 5 model. I'm just going to call that. And again here, I can put color, serial number, nib. I'm going to say it's an extra broad. And you can tell it's test data because you wouldn't have an opal nib. Let's say a steel nib. Save that. And then when I go back to my main screen, go back to Test Pen 5. As you can see here, this is squashed up. So this is again part of the work I've got to do. So Test Pen 5, I can now see that I've got a pen model here, where again I can go into the pen details, edit them as much as I want, and then I can also say, right, what ink? So I'm going to ink this up with Ancient Song Seaview. So now I've got that ancient song C view. And again, I can go for my details and my usage from now on. And that would then appear over here. We should hopefully see that Bennu. Yeah, so Bennu Test Pen 5 in my EDC list. So that's first two to buys. So this is where I can make a list of things I want to buy. So I've got in here notebooks, pens, etc. So I can filter this. So I can say, show me things I want to buy by Diamine. So I can go and just look at the Diamine ones rather than having to look at everything. So I've got a number of inks there. Or I can say, show me Diamine, and that's a pen. Well, there's nothing because they're only inks. But if I don't look at inks, there I can see the inks. And then I can add a new item. So I'm going to say, add a new item. I'm going to add a pen. I'm going to add a pen from Blue Dew. And let's call it the posh one. I know my spelling's terrible. It's not a spelling competition. So Blue Dew, no inks, but we do have our posh one now added onto that list. Reports, these are extracts, so these will create CSVs. So if I want my inked pens, I can click on inked pens. What that does is that goes away, it'll create a CSV file, then ask me where to save it. I've lost my mouse, so I'll export that. Not going to open it, but it just shows you a list of pens. And then finally, we've got search. You know, when you've got a larger collection, it's hard to find things. So what I want to do is I want to search for a pen. Let's call it the Talisman. So I start typing, it searches for the combination in there. So I go TAL. We're getting loads, but here we've got Bennu Talisman. So if I click on the Bennu Talisman, that will show me the details of that pen. Same with Seda Tebaldi Bennonia. But the other thing I can search for, let me just clear that off, is ink properties. This should clear when I empty that, so that's something I need to work on for my next version. But I can search on ink properties. So I can say what I want to do is see all inks that are chroma shading. So this shows me my chroma shading inks. And also chroma shading and with sheen. So I've got two there that I've said I've got chroma shading and sheen. So Diamine Music Beethoven is one. There we go. Chroma shading and sheen. And same with that Fisherman's Song. So it's just a nice, easy way of searching through, especially when you've got larger collections. Settings, still working on that. This is where those properties are stored, but I'm still trying to decide what to do in it. So that's a very, very, very quick demo. There is also an, I'll say iPhone and iPad. This is a simulation of the iPhone. Let me just resize this so it actually fits in that window. And let me run this. So I'm going to run pen list now in there. So it's just opening up. And maybe it's not going to load. We'll see in a second. There we go, connecting. So again, that's the old way. This is a new interface, so the new interface works on here as well. So very similar. So I can go down to Bennu. And here we've got my test pens. So test pen 4, works very similar. Let me go back to the camera. And then I can stop this. Stop these from running. And then back to the camera. So I say very quick and very dirty, but it sort of works. So let's head back to the comments. So we've got Will Hodge, howdy from Texas, welcome to you. Down under, depends where you are. So over here in Western Australia, it's now 10 to 9 in the morning. I think over in the eastern states, I think it's only a 2-hour time difference now, so I think it'll be about 10 to 11. Blonde Scales 1 didn't make the proper sacrifices to the computer gods. Absolutely. I don't know why it didn't work. I'll have to play with that. It could be I updated to macOS Sonoma, and it could maybe something to do with that. I don't know. There's something I'm going to have to try and have a look at. Well, Hodge, glad I'm finally catching another broadcast. Welcome. Yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Will Hodge, flaunting your digital capabilities. Nicely done. I live in a more analog world. Yeah, I'm very much hybrid. I've always been digital first, but certainly I enjoy my note-taking, using that more analog system. Main reason I've got this is there's absolutely loads there in my collection. I've got well over 100 pens, well over 100 inks, and it's just a nice, easy way of doing it. I did try spreadsheet, but then trying to keep a link of my usage history, really difficult. David Anderson, never seen such a it is complicated at the moment. This is part of the reason why I'm working on that redesign of the UI. I'm only about a week into the redesign, so still got a load to do in it. That's why I thought hopefully I might get some comments from this, which will help me to focus in on certain areas that I wouldn't necessarily think of. I'm trying to simplify it. Problem is, it's capturing an awful lot of information, and it's trying to do that in a nice, easy way. That's where I'm struggling. I build it how I think, but how I think is very different than how other people think. John, nice app. Can you sync between the Mac and the iPad? Absolutely. So it does sync. Because I'm doing my test data, it didn't show it very easily. But I'm often, I've got it running on my phone. I can't show the phone because I'm using it. Make a change on there. It refresh my iPad app. It runs on there. Same with the Mac. So they all link together. So it doesn't matter where I am. So like when I'm doing my notes for my review, I use the live version, the production version on my Mac. And that's where I do my typing for my notes, because it's easier to type on a keyboard than it is to type on a screen for me. And then my brain gone dead. Then say when I'm adding a photo, that's easier to do on the iPad because I can take a photo with my phone. That syncs through Photos. I edit it. I take out anything I don't need. Then I set it on the iPad. If I'm loading new inks, I find it easier to actually select the inks when I'm on the iPhone. So it all syncs together. Now it's showing my chat disconnected. Hopefully it's reconnected. It's saying it did, but you can never tell. I'm having a terrible time today. So let's see, does the iPhone camera work today? Yes, it does at the moment. So what were the pens that I was using this week? So I started off on Sunday with the Moonman Mahjong M800. This was the amber version. It's out of ink now. It ran out on Sunday. You can see I haven't cleaned it yet. I will see if it will write. I don't think it will. So we've got a Mahjong. Yeah, I didn't think it would write. On here we've got the bottom nib that came with it. So that's a fine nib. I do love my M800s. One of my first Chinese pens, and I still love it today. Next pen, also out of ink. Jinhao X159. Bit of a beast of a pen. Let's take this off and show you again. Not a lot of ink in there. Might write. Love the size of this pen. I like larger pens, I will be honest. I find them more comfortable in my hands, but I've got fairly large hands. Number 8 size nib. Will this one write? Oh, maybe. So it's not a Mahjong, it's a Jinhao X159. It's the fine nib. The ink by Lamy or Lamy. Crystal. And it's azurite. Nice ink this. Nice, like dark purple. The price of this pen was 12 Aussie dollars. The Moonman, I didn't say, that was $45. So that's my second pen going for clean out. I'll actually put them in the clean out cup. I have a cup here. I worked on a project years ago called My Merch, and they gave us this at the end of it. So I use that to put my pens in that need cleaning. Next up, we've got a Jinhao X850. So number 6 nib there. Cartridge converter. I do like that O-ring at the bottom. It gives you like a soft landing when you're tightening it down. Bit short, but usable. Don't like these cutouts. Very personal choice though. So we've got a Jinhao X850 with a medium nib. Pen, $13. The ink is by Pure Pens, a Welsh company. And it's a Celtic Sea or Celtic Sea. Nice blue ink, like a turquoisey ink. Quite enjoy this ink. I'm in a bit of a turquoisey or pale blue like kick at the moment, so a lot of the inks I'm enjoying using are that paler blue colour. Up next, we've got the Hongdian 1841. Nice, classic looking pen. Again there, Hongdian nib. And another cartridge converter. It's another one with that O-ring at the bottom. Thinner feeling pen. It's nice though. Again, does feel a bit short. You can post it. So we've got Hongdian 1841. This has got, I believe it's a it's a medium nib. And price wise, you're looking at 42 Aussie dollars. The ink by Diamine, and it's soft mint. Surprising this, I'm really enjoying this colour. It's I don't know, it's that greeny blue type colour. Certainly can see how it gets the name soft mint. Next we've got the Kaigaloo 316A. Nice coloured pen. Love the fact the material goes all the way through. Although by the look of it, I might have some kind of ink leakage there in the section because that looks too dark. Another one, cartridge converter. So here we've got a Kaigaloo 316A, medium nib. Price wise, about 35 Aussie dollars. And the ink is by Robert Oster. Light green. Very good match for the pen. Let me just move this up. We're getting a bit low there on the page. Really like that. This ink is ever so slightly too pale for me for normal use. It's only a sample that I got to try. I mean, I do prefer more saturated ink, so maybe that's why. But I love the nib on this. It's a very, very generous medium nib. Next up, pen I love to hate. Pen BBS 487. Love writing with this pen. I love the shape. I love the way it writes. I actually love the line I get from it. It's a nice fit in the hand. What I don't like about it, this magnetic filling system doesn't work. I eyedropper fill this pen. And this is called Cordawriters, this pattern. Very nice. So we've got a pen PBS that will not write. There we go. No, it doesn't want to write for me today. Let me just try giving the nib a bit of a wipe. Well, this is embarrassing. Right, hopefully that will now work. So we've got pen BBS. There we go. 487. It's got a fine nib on it. Price wise, this was 54 Aussie dollars. The ink is Pilot, Iroshizuku, Momiji. I say this is a pen I love to hate. The issue I've had here, first time I've had an issue with writing. Yes, we're getting quite low on ink, but I mean there's still about a centimetre in there full of ink, so can't see how that could be the issue. So that's something I'll have to watch out for when I next use it, which will be later on this week. But yeah, normally I like the nib. I'd say it's a fine nib, but it's very, very generous. Next up, this was yesterday's pen, This is another Moonman or Marjon M800. This is in the green. Again, very attractive looking. I know it's a very highly inspired by the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. Another one, it's out of ink. Don't know if we're right. Let's try. No, we won't. The ink in here is Robotosta Australis T. I actually quite like the colour, but it's just way too pale. It was more like, I think the ink would be brilliant in a highlighter pen. Really enjoy writing, and it's an M800. Difference here though, this one's got a Goulet broad nib. This is the gold coloured one. I have had some issues with the ink flow when I was writing the other day, but it was virtually out of ink, so it could be that problem. What I need to do is refill the pen, but that won't be for a while. When that ran out, so yesterday again, I swapped over to the Marjon M1000, tried to stick with Marjon. This is a gorgeous wooden pen, and I like these little studs that just like add a little bit of pop to it. So again, we've got converter in here. It's a heavy feeling pen, really feel the heft of that. Doesn't really post, if I try and post it, but it's nice, it fits really well in the hand. Nice number 6 nib there as well. So we've got here, I'm just going to give it a quick irritation or agitation. We've got a Marjon M1000. This has got a medium nib. Let me double check. Yeah, medium nib. Cost wise is about 54 Aussie dollars. The ink in here, it's the last of a sample. That's why I'm irritating it, because it's a shimmer ink. It's by Organics Studio. And it's Cystine, Brown, Shimmer. Now, not sure if the shimmer will come through on this. We'll find out in a second. I'll leave it a little bit of time to dry while we do the next one. Nice heavy pen. I love the weight of it. Then today's pen is by Wingsung. So this is the Wingsung 698. This one, it's got a gold nib, 14 karat gold nib. It's a fine nib. Piston filling pen. The piston mechanism comes down to about here, so you lose about half the barrel to the piston mechanism. I do find the material just a little bit too dark, so I struggle at times to see the ink level. There shouldn't be that much ink left in here. One thing I know I've said this a few times, I like the fact that this cap, the piston mechanism, it locks in place. So as it is now, it's locked, so it's hard to twist. To twist it, you need to pull it out, and then it will start twisting. Obviously, I'm not going to twist it. Let me just pop that back down. So we've got here a Wingsung. Let me just move it up. There we go. Wingsung 698 with 14 karat, and it's fine. Price wise, because it's the gold version, it's about 81 Aussie dollars. The steel versions, they're about 30-ish dollars. The ink by Diamine. And then I always spell this wrong. Mon Bordeaux's hat. Hopefully I've got that right. I always get my B's and my D's mixed up. Very nice dark purple ink. This is a very soft nib. It's very, very sensitive. So here's no pressure. Then I can start adding pressure and get some really nice lines. So none with, none with, none and with. But then it railroads very easily. So that's the Wingsung 698. Now let's see, is there any shimmer coming through in that Cystine? Not a lot, unfortunately. I think very much dependent on paper. Some papers I do see quite a lot of shimmer. So let's go back over to the camera and move on over. Right, I'll go back to the comments. Blonde Scales 1, I don't use iStuff, so I couldn't use it anyway. Yeah, this is the downside. I'm completely Apple. I've got to be honest. Everything I do is Apple. So, Yeah, I'd like to do a version for Windows and Android, but because I don't have them, it's very difficult. David is asking, let me get the right pen. This one is the X850 plastic or metal. Let me grab my little thingy. See if I can look down into the body. It looks like it's metal to me. It feels there's a bit of weight to it, so I'm guessing it might be, but I can't 100% say. But when I pop that down there, it looks like there's a metal lining inside the body. Yeah, so I think it's metal with a plastic overlay. Certainly the fittings are metal. Wool Hodge, like the 316, prefer pens with little or no step down to the grip section. Yeah, I like this whole duofold style line. I mean, this is the 316A. My preference, I do have a 316. I've got a Moonman homage on M600S, again very similar, and I've also got a number of Jinhao 100s. And my preference is actually the Jinhao 100 because, well, it's cheaper. They're about $10 cheaper than the Kaigalus. So Garry, being a skinflint, goes for the cheapest. In terms of writing, I think they all write very similar as well. Santa, welcome to you. Welcome to Miss Marilyn Darling. Just before this, I was watching Miss Marilyn Darling's Currently Inked. Really interesting. If you haven't, go and watch that. Really worth watching. I love seeing the different inks to give me ideas for inks to go onto my to-buy list. Wool Hodge, hello to Miss Marilyn Darling. Sorry, I have to take a drink. Today we've got the Avengers mug. We've got Iron Man hiding around there in the back. I see that Loki has come out now. Season 2 of Loki is now out on Disney Plus. I've got on my list, but I haven't watched it yet. Hopefully I might watch that this afternoon. I enjoyed the first season of Loki. It's quite good fun. I was also have we been watching Star Trek Lower Decks? I've been loving that season this so far. The one I've just watched this week's was all right, but the previous week's one, which centered on Tendi, I absolutely loved that. I thought that was really, really good. Miss Marilyn Darling, hi, thanks Garry, and then hi Will Hodge. So let me get my script over. What videos have I released this week? So we had on Sunday last week were my top 5 Chinese pens. That was based on a request from somebody on Instagram who asked for it. So I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So I did my top 5 Chinese ones last week on Sunday. On Tuesday, I released Sailor Pro Gear Slim versus the D-Like New Moon 2. Sort of similar-ish. I think a better comparison would have been a Sailor Pro Gear against the New Moon 2. Then size-wise to be better. I just can't afford a Sailor Pro Gear. They're so expensive. I do have on order, well, not on order, I do have in my AliExpress cart. I'm just waiting for, might be this afternoon or tomorrow, where I'll press the order button. I've got a number of Jinhao 82s, and they look like a far better comparison to the Sailor Pro Gear Slim in terms of size. So we'll have a look at that. Fridays was my October inks. So there I looked at Diamine, Tobacco Sunburst and Dominant Industry Lungo. Some interesting brown ones. And then my Tricky Little Questions video yesterday was about the planet Mercury and how when we see all the planets lined up in a lot of diagrams, you go Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. When you calculate out the orbits, Mercury is the closest planet to every single planet in this solar system on average. And it was, there's loads, I didn't go into the maths in the video because I thought that'd be boring. So that's one that I would love to that I really enjoyed. I actually enjoyed making that. I said there's loads of maths, so I did explore the maths, but it would be boring in a video. But yeah, it really surprised me that Mercury, the closest planet to Earth on average, is Mercury. So that was last week's videos. This week's videos. So this afternoon my time as it is, for those in the States, it'll be tomorrow. My favourite pens over $100. So Sunday, I don't know why I've got it written down they were Chinese. So the last week's must have been my favourite ones under $100. There's a new video idea there. Let me just make a note of that. Press the right combination. And add a video idea. Favourite Chinese pens. If I don't capture these ideas when I think of them, they like vanish. And the type is a pen video. Okay, so yeah, favourite pens over $100. Tuesday, I've got a first impressions for you. It's the first impressions of this one. This is the Natami Inception. Quite a nice coloured pen. It's called, I think it was light blue is the colour. So there's my first impressions of that coming up on Tuesday. Friday will be the halftime report. I'll be recording that on Wednesday, so absolutely no idea what's going to be in that yet. I'll be scripting that most probably Monday or Tuesday. So that'll be Friday's video. Next Saturday on Tricky Little Questions, I have a quiz. So 10 true or false questions. And then next Sunday, my standard video next Sunday is my October ink pens. So they were all the pens I had inked up other than my EDCs at the start of October. I know I mentioned it last week. There will be no live next week. I have to go and have some surgery on Friday. And although I should be home, I just don't want to push myself for the first couple of days I'm home. So I'm not going to do a live next week. But there will be my normal afternoon video. Let's jump over back to the comments. Will Hodge, any new exciting Aussie inks coming in the future? To be honest, I don't really pay a lot of attention to inks. I'm on an ink buying freeze, so if I see one I like, I put it on the list. But because I'm not really buying any, I don't spend that much time looking at them at the moment, which maybe I should do. That's what I need to think about. Will Hodge missed the Blackstone, was sorry to see them go. Do you know, I was kicking myself. Sorry, 1 sec. Just as I was getting back into different inks is when Blackstone closed down. There was a really nice, I want to say it was called something like On the Road, a really nice looking green, which I thought would look really nice. And yeah, they just closed down, which was a bit of a shame, but this happens. Miss Marilyn Darling will be live next week. Yeah, absolutely recommend go tune into that. Well worth doing. I love watching Miss Marilyn Darling's videos. I will be honest, most of them I don't watch live, purely time zones, but I do watch them afterwards. I say I watched I was watching the Currently Inked before I went live today. Miss Marilyn Darling, or Marilyn, totally gutted when Blackstone went bust. Yeah, absolutely. Teresa, thank you. Hoping surgery goes well and your recovery is swift. Yeah, it should do. It's not mine. It's certainly not minor surgery, but it should hopefully. But it's like I don't know, is it a keyhole they do? So hopefully it won't be too bad. Miss Marilyn Darling, so blessed that my friend Chris Sens gifted me a bottle of my favourite green inks, Blackstone Daintree green. That's the green I was thinking of. It is a very, very nice. It was just such a. I can understand why they closed down, because they were a brick and mortar store primarily, and at the start of the pandemic, it wasn't worth it. But yeah, well worth thinking about. Miss Marilyn Darling, that's understandable. Okay, books. So I finished The Pillars of Creation by Terry Goodkind. Like most of his books, I think I said this last week. There's about maybe 700 pages. The first 650, maybe 600, are all build up. And all the action seems to happen in the last 10 pages, or last 50 pages. Exactly the same here. everything happened, in maybe even the last 20 pages even. I still enjoyed the book, still enjoyed reading it. So when I finished that, I've now switched back to Terry Pratchett. So we've got Pyramids about that way through so far. Got a really old bookmark here, leather bookmark. I don't know where. I think I got this when I went to Cairns a few years ago. No, it's not New Zealand bookmark. So about 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, I went to Auckland for a week. So obviously got that most probably from the museum in Auckland. When I finished that one, I'm going to do another quick Terry Goodkind book. This is The Debt of Burns. It's a very small book. It's 116 pages, so really, really small read. That should be, maybe 3 days to read that. It depends how much I read. But obviously, with going into hospital on Friday, I'll be taking a load of books with me. So once I finish that, I'll take a number of Terry Pratchett books. I don't want to read anything heavy while I'm there, so Terry Pratchett, nice humour. I think that will go really well. Oh, so that's the bottom of my script all done. I'll just give a couple more seconds and see if there's anything else comes into the comments. So thank you all for joining me today. Bit of a short one today. This will shock the wife that I'm finished early. She'll be looking at me as if to say, "What are you doing here?" Hopefully she won't decide we should go out shopping early though. So thank you all. There's no more comments coming in. I'll leave the chat open for a couple of minutes in case anybody wants to drop anything in. Just Miss Marilyn Darling, thank you, Gary. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to you. Love doing these. Really going to miss it next week. Miss Marilyn Darling again. Hope everybody has a great week. So with that, thank you all, and I'll talk to you again soon.